Hi there, this is Ann Klemmer and Stamper from Stamperdog.com. It's fall and everybody's been asking about this card. Well, they like this card. I think they like this card too. There's something about leaves and it just makes you want to make a card. This one is done with emerging color. And if you look really closely, you might be able to figure it out. But just in case, let's get started and I'll show you how to do it. I started with a 3.5 by 4-inch piece of vanilla cardstock. You could use white, that would work. I don't think that I would use any of the other neutrals, cardstock or glossy, but white or vanilla works great. The colors that we used are Pear Pizzazz, More Mustard, and Pool Party. I use these because they're light and they're going to show up very well. I also use these because they're the same colors that are in our Spice Cake Designer Series paper. So if you don't have a color coach, and you should get one, looking at the color combinations in our mini catalog and our regular catalog and that tell you what colors to put together, well, that's a good place to start. Stamper's outside trying to direct me from outside. Now I'm going to take our clear embossing powder, and before I do that, I'm going to use Versamark, and I'm going to stamp where I want it to show through. See? Odd numbers are a good thing. And here. I want a little bit of the blue to show through, but not a lot. A lot of this depends on how good your memory is, because you really can't see where you stamped at. So you just have to take a good guess and hope you don't overlap. And if you do overlap, that's okay. Now, in a perfect world, I would have put the embossing buddy over this because it's going to want to cling into places that I don't want it to, because the ink might be a little bit damp, but maybe if we hold our mouth right, it'll work. And what I like to do is give it a nice little snap. And that's pretty good at getting rid of the extras, because you don't want any little dots. It's not the end of the world, but it is a good idea to get rid of as many of the little pieces, the little errant pieces as possible, because we are doing a type of emboss resist technique. I can see this on here, and I hope you can too, in between the pieces of sunlight. Let me clean this up. Okay, I've embossed this all over here. Now here's a little trick about embossing. You know it's done when wherever the powder was is smooth. If you do it too little, it'll be bumpy. If you do it too long, you'll melt it right into the paper, which is not the effect we're going for today. But here, you can still not see those very much. But let's see what we do next. Soft Suede is another color that's used in the Spice Cake paper. So here we go. Now I usually like to work on grid paper, but for the videos I do it on black so it's easier for you to see. The only problem is I don't want to have ink all over the back of that old mat, so we're going to do it this way, because I think you'll still be able to see. You could do this with a, this is a Stampin' Sponge, and I'm just dabbing it into the ink pad and rolling around, and wherever I had embossed it, it's going to resist it. See, and look how dark it's getting. And the good thing about this, and this is just cut into like probably a 1/6. I cut it into half, and then I cut it each half into 3. The good thing about using this is that it gets down into the crevices of the leaf. However, I'm going to go over it with a sponge dauber. Not this sponge dauber because it's got green on it. I'll get a new one. I like to take a labeler and write what color I put on the side so that it will, I can just reuse it over and over again. It's just not worth going and rinsing it out every time. And see, I can get a even darker color here. Don't be afraid to use a lot of ink, because that's what re-inkers are for, to re-ink your pad when it gets low. But see, it looks so much better when the background is somewhat uniform. It still looks a little bit mottled, not too much. And then, to make it even better, we've got some tissue, and then I'm just going to buff right where the leaves were. There's a few steps in this project, but they're not overly difficult. Now to finish it off, I'm going to take some early espresso, which is a little bit darker than soft suede. Stamper is wonderful, stamper is wonderful, stamper is wonderful. See, look, hold it down, it's going to stay. On the original card, I stamped again in soft suede. This time I want to stamp again in early espresso and see if this is going to pop just a little bit more, and I believe it is. So I guess that's what we're going to show you today with the emerging color. And in the next video, perhaps I'll show you a little bit more about how we achieved this nice little curved edge on the edge of the greeting. This is Ann Klemmer and Stamper from StamperDog.com, just trying to put a little ink and paper and fun into your day.